Disneyland. The wonderful attractions, the delicious food, the colorful characters snapping and harassing the visitors. Those occurrences are really interesting to me because they feel like a glitch in the matrix. Well, until you start actually looking inside said matrix, that is. Afterwards, you actually end up being surprised that it doesn't happen more often. What I'm mainly referring to here is Disneyland's commitment to be the happiest place on Earth. Or at least look as such. In practice, this means that every single element of the park needs to evoke as many positive emotions as possible. From the colors to the music, all the way to how on-stage employees behave, everything is tightly thought out and monitored. Regarding the employees themselves, this means that they have to look especially friendly, happy, and good-looking at all times, even when they might feel especially frustrated or sad.
They're Disney, like they want to see you out there and they want to see you like happy and cheerful and just radiating positive energy, and you really do have to do that. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh please, like it's an interview, but like Disney is a brand. Disney is a brand and they love when their employees represent that brand.
So what happens when they actually feel those negative emotions? Well, they have to fake it. This process of displaying emotions that you don't necessarily feel for the sake of your job is actually known as emotional labor. And this is where the key of understanding why those people break out of character actually lies. Indeed, emotional labor is known to be very demanding for the individual. It costs a lot of energy, if you will. Moreover, if prolonged, it can increase general levels of stress and even chances of developing burnout. So it is safe to assume that those people who snap essentially couldn't take it anymore. They were exhausted and out of fuel to fake their emotions. At this stage, I feel the need to note that although I've been focusing on Disneyland thus far, pretty much anyone who works in customer services or even interacts with people on a day-to-day basis is susceptible to emotional labor and its negative impact. Healthcare providers and teachers being good examples of that.
Man, when you said we were making a video about Disneyland, I didn't expect it to be such a downer. So what's the solution then? Do we just tell everybody to be honest at all times?
Well, not really. People fake their emotions for a good reason. It increases levels of customer satisfaction. That being said, we can still keep emotional labor while mitigating its negative impact. But for that, we need to make the distinction between two types of strategies: surface acting versus deep acting. Surface acting refers to the main emotional labor strategy that we've talked about thus far, meaning it's all about displaying emotions that you are not actually feeling. Deep acting, on the other hand, is about learning to convince yourself that you are actually feeling what is demanded of you for the job. The distinction is important because they don't lead to the same outcomes. Indeed, deep acting is significantly less associated with risks of developing burnout, and it tends to increase levels of customer satisfaction even more than surface acting. In other words, you get even more benefits with much less drawbacks. So, the natural next question is how to elicit more deep acting. At an individual level, some studies have shown that focusing on positive feelings, intrinsic motivation, and on the needs of the customers can facilitate feeling and expressing positive emotions on the job. In layman terms, keep telling yourself why your job is fun, interesting, and why the customer needs you, and you will have a better time. That being said, individual interventions can only go so far. Ultimately, the largest and most effective toolset is still in the hands of the employer. Of all the possible interventions, I would like to put emphasis on two specific ones. 1. Make the rules on emotional labor clear by actually displaying them. And 2. Foster a culture of customer orientation. For all the bad rap I gave to Disney, this is something that they actually nail. See, everything in Disneyland is built with the perspective of the customer in mind. Places need to be easy to find, the food needs to be exquisite, and shows always need to be fun. If a single person has a bad time, then this cannot be the happiest place on earth anymore. Employees are made aware of this and internalize it from the very beginning. Right after hiring, employees at Disneyland go through an extensive training where they learn about the company's values as well as the specific verbal and non-verbal language that they have to use. Seriously, they are taught a specific dress code, ways to act in character, as well as specific words and phrases that they can or cannot use.
From there, you will also have scheduled your traditions class and your step into the magic class. They're 2 8-hour days, and the first one is traditions. Traditions is basically learning about all the traditions and the history of Disneyland. The next thing is your Step into the Magic class. This class is a little bit more technical.
Animate is the Disney term for basically like expressing yourself without speaking. You would express something. You'd be like Stitchy waking up and having breakfast and going surfing. Like you had to just do that without speaking. And then you would go into the dance. And then you'd go back into your animation, and then you'd go into your dance, and you were basically auditioning again, kind of, because they were basically coding you so that you could be put into things like the castle show or parades or whatnot that were non-equity. And so you could do all those things.
This might look a bit Orwellian at first glance, but the advantage is that employees don't need to use as much energy trying to find out what to say next or how to say it. That stuff becomes automatic so they can focus fully on the customer's experience. And it shows, as Disney apparently has a very small turnover rate. Finally, I would like to address a word to us, the customers. Stay cool! Seriously, studies suggest that customers too can have an impact on their own experience. By going into customer services with a positive attitude, we can help workers engage more easily into deep acting. Thus, we get a better service as a result. It's a win-win! Well, as long as Mickey isn't acting menacingly, of course. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. I feel like the subject of emotional labor is often quite overlooked in the general discourse, so it's always cool to see people willing to learn more about it. By the way, if you want more details on the matter, you can find all sources and references used in the making of this video in the description below. And yeah, if you ever worked at Disneyland or any other customer service type job, feel free to tell me in the comments what were your personal strategies to deal with emotional labor or annoying customers as a whole. I am genuinely curious to read more about people's experience with that sort of thing. Other than that, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!